The college football experience, North Carolina Tar Heels 2023 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, brought to you by our very own Patreon. Yes, score exclusive perks, content, and contests, including our NFL win totals contest with $1,000 prize. Join today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Once again, that is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, everybody. Joe Theismann here. You're listening to SGPN. So do this. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. North Carolina Tar Heels 2023 season preview episode. The song will keep playing if I don't stop it. And perhaps the same could be said about Mack Brown. He'll keep coaching until he drops. All right, until the Lord stops it. Perhaps he is in. He's going to be 72 years old by the time the season kicks. Yeah, it's exciting.
He's a young 72. A young 72, though.
A young 72. And look, I think that's one of the keys of life. Just don't retire. Just keep working. All right. So look for me to do this podcast, God willing, if I can get to 72 years old, folks. I am joined. Well, no, wait. I haven't introduced myself. Perhaps you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Yes, we are talking Tar Heel football. Make sure you go over to YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience to watch the episode live. I mean, this team's always got talent on the football field. They need to just grab a championship in the ACC, though. Come on. Look, I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for, well, he is a Duke fan. I should preference it with that. But
keep on listening, folks. Keep on listening.
But yes, give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free like giving farmer, Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
Out of respect, I didn't wear any Duke gear. Instead I wore a UNCW hat for some reason.
That counts. That counts, right?
There you go. I'm going to try to be impartial, unbiased, and fair here. But at the end of the day, I guess take everything I say with a grain of salt.
You are. You say you're an ACC specialist. All right.
Do I?
Well, they say. They say that. They, the interwebs, to quote George W. Bush. All right. This is North Carolina University. How much talent has came out of North Carolina from Jeff Saturday? I'll go right into it with Jeff Saturday to
strange player to lead with. Okay.
to Ronald Curry, to Harris Barton. All right. to Lawrence Taylor, to Oscar Davenport,
to Dre Bly,
and Chris Keldorf. All
and
the
Jason
way.
Stanisic.
There you go. All the way to Julius Peppers and Sam Howell with the Washington Redskins. And now we have Drake May and just a slew of talent there. But man, you got to wonder, I mean, what do you currently, first off, is this a make or break year for Mack Brown and NC Nick?
I don't think it's make or break. I mean, he won 9 games last year, which was his best year at UNC, at least the second time he was at UNC, because he won over 10 games. Let's see here, 3 times at his first stint in the 90s in Chapel Hill. Hasn't hit 10 yet, but he's been solid there. And really, I mean, he inherited a mess under Larry Fedora, where the last 2 years they went 3-9 and 2-9. So
well, you're right there in Raleigh, which is not far from Chapel Hill. And I think if you said, hey, we started out 9-1 with the one loss being to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And you lost the final 4 games of the season. It's a little disappointing, right?
Of course. I mean, at one point you thought, or fans thought that there was a chance that they could go to the playoffs. Now they ended up making the ACC championship game, partially because the Coastal's always been weaker than the Atlantic, and they got blown out by Clemson in that game. But overall, I still think you chalk up the season as a success. Now, here's the issue: was in that 9-1 stretch, there was 6 of them were 1-score games.
Yeah.
And 5 of them were a field goal or less. So UNC was 6-0 in those games that were decided by 1 score. And then that's not sustainable. And therefore, and you saw it happen, because in that 4-game losing streak, a couple of those were losses that were only by 1 score.
So the question I ask you, 6-3 in 1-score games. I mean, it's almost impossible for that to happen again this year, I would say. Not impossible, but very unlikely. But so you think, I mean, because I'm curious. So Mack Brown moves to 1-3 in bowl games, and he has done a good job. And I'm not calling for him to be fired, but you got to wonder if he finishes this year, say 7-5 with a bowl loss, it would be 1-4 in bowl games, and then he would be 73 years old at the start of the kick the next season. The question is,
maybe he steps down, but I don't see him getting fired this year unless things go like really bad. I think right now the fan base is excited with the Drake May buzz, the Heisman potential stuff. And there was Sam Howell for Heisman potentially. And UNC will always be a basketball school, so they don't have as high of standards in football as Clemson or SEC schools. So now I think
they need to be.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
But right now I think he's on firm ground, and I think a 7-5 or an 8-4 season would keep him kind of in that same status as he is right now.
And I think he wants to stay coaching, from what I understand, for the next coming, for the future. So there's that. All right, look, we're going to talk all about Mack Brown. And hopefully he'll be dancing in Charlotte again against the South Carolina Gamecocks when the season starts. But look, before we do that, we're going to talk all about the offense, the defense, the special teams. Go game by game on the Tar Heels schedule. Try to forecast how the 2023 season will go. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the College Football Experience North Carolina Tar Heels 2023 season preview episode is brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon. Yes, look, the Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon is perfect for the diehard DJ. Sign up for the Patreon to get access to exclusive contests, including the NFL Totals contest with $1,000 first place prize giveaway, plus a monthly SGP Stories podcast. I'm sure we'll be diving into the stories. Might have a couple good stories involving our dearly departed friend Mike One Leach, and it's an ad-free, uncensored show highlighting the best stories from also decades of being D-Gens. You might get a story about how Patty C cost me $10,000 with the Kansas Jayhawks. There's even a Discord channel for our patrons. And look, the Sports Gambling Podcast has and always will give out their picks for free. So this is not one of these things. We're not trying to be Vegas Dave over here doing some bullshit like that. The Patreon is just a great way to support the network and fight back against corporate gambling, because we are still independent. All right. That was great. I was at Mountain West Media Day next to these $1 million corporations sitting there. This is so-and-so from CBS. Yeah.
Those suits.
This is old Pick Dundee from SGPN. Get the hell out of my way, buddy. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. All right, we are back on the College Football Experience North Carolina Tar Heels 2023 season preview episode, and I feel it's only fitting to talk about as we lean into this, talk about the fact that Phil Longo is gone. Right, he is now with the Wisconsin Badgers and the Dairy Raid offense. So Chip Lindsay coming in as the new OC of North Carolina, and we're going to talk more about that in a second. But then another thing you got to talk about is the transfer portal, because it's just absolutely insane. If you're not Army, Navy, Air Force, or strangely Clemson, then everyone else is just all in on the portal. So let's talk about what's leaving the Tar Heels in 2023 before we talk about what's coming in. Safety Jaquarius Conley, 4-star transfer in the portal right now. That's what's crazy. There's some good names out there still. Linebacker Gabe Stevens, 4-star transfer portal. He haven't landed anywhere yet. Cornerback Ladison DeAndre Hollins heads out to Biff Poggi, and Biff Poggi seems like, if we're talking North Carolina football, we should talk about the whole state. Biff Poggi, that's a guy who's super pissed off at the world right now. He's slamming things down. He's going on radio shows talking about they're all idiots, right? People are the media's idiots. Love me some Biff Poggi. So maybe DeAndre Hollins there will be a nice fit for them. Linebacker Bryson Jennings is going to Liberty, the Flamin' Libs up in Virginia. Wide receiver Justin Olson's heading out to Rick Stockstill, the NASCAR driver in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. This one hurt, I think. Keyshawn Silver, defensive lineman, 4-star, transfers out to Kentucky. Ouch.
Not a starter, but he was in that rotation. Definitely, was on the field a decent chunk.
Well, not only that, I heard that he was he was very young. I heard he was going to be a stud. So, and I've already heard Kentucky is raving about him. So that ain't good. But Storm Duck, the cornerback, he is now a Louisville Cardinal with Jeff Brom. Cornerback Dante Belfauer, he is with Biff Poggi as well. Biff Poggi's he means business. Cornerback and Belfauer, 4-star transfer, might I add. Cornerback Tony Grimes, one of the best players of the team a season ago, or coming into the season last year. He's now a Texas A&M Aggie. Cornerback Cam Kelly, another 4-star, heading out to the Virginia Cavaliers, the Wahoos. Tight end Kendall Carr going to Tim Beck in Coastal Carolina. Cornerback Tymere Brown going to the East Carolina Pirates, strictly a business decision. Then you have the likes of defensive lineman Jalil Taylor heading out to Old Dominion. And then you have safety Dontavius Nash heading out to East Carolina. I get it. I really do get it. Then we have linebacker or defensive end Chris Collins heading out to the Minnesota Golden Gophers of PJ Fleck, rowing the boat.
Hey, they play this year. Come on.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, what the hell's going on there? Linebacker Ra Dilworth, great name. He said, "Well, I think it's time for me to step my game up a little bit. Head over to East Carolina." Quarterback Jacoby Criswell goes to the Arkansas Razorbacks. That's a sneaky good gig. Remember, Jefferson got dinged up. Might work out for him there. And kicker Jonathan Kim goes to the Michigan State Spartans. I think I got them all. That's a lot to lose, though, NC Nick, right?
Yeah, especially I think on the defensive side of the ball got hit harder. The defense was not good last year. So addition by subtraction, maybe, I don't know.
But they were all big recruits. Some of those were big time recruits. Storm Duck was like a huge recruit.
I mean, it looks like the secondary especially got hit hard, but UNC's pass defense was the worst in the ACC last year. And I know you're about to get to it, but they do bring in some guys defensively, but almost a complete overhaul kind of on defense.
Yeah. Words of Chisholm. All right. Gene Chisnick, still the defensive coordinator there. Let's get to what's coming in here. We got Georgia State safety Antavius Lane heading to North Carolina. Coming out of the Sun Belt, you get some of those Sun Belt guys that can play. Nate McCollum at wide receiver from Georgia Tech. Hey, I actually think this is a nice get. I think McCollum, Jeff Collins, they couldn't throw the forward pass well. As much as he wants them to give the triple option shit when he first comes in, it's not like this guy was lighting the world on fire with his passing attack. Safety Derek Allen also comes in from the Yellow Jackets, going in conference. What's going on? This was a huge get here. Devontez Walker from Kent State. Sean Lewis had this guy, looking like I think he could be in the NFL. So obviously you lose Josh Downs, but that's a nice get. Offensive lineman, this was a huge one too. Willie Lampkin, one of the best players on Coastal Carolina, not named McCall. He comes in, and then Virginia Tech cornerback Armani Chapman comes in. Brutal, just disgusting. All this movement. Kicker Ryan Coe also comes in from the Cincinnati Bearcats. Florida State linebacker Amari Gaynor comes in to the Tar Heels. And I believe, they have a punter, Tom Magnus, coming in from the portal. And then don't look now. This was a sneaky good get, and I've heard he's been really impressing in camp or spring ball. Was cornerback Elijah Huzzy from East Tennessee State. Hey, if you go back and look at Florida State's season last year, there's going to be a name that certainly pops off, and his name was Jared Verse, who came from Albany. Sometimes you can find. We just did an interview with Phil Steele this morning. Go listen to that episode. But he was talking about how there's been a great rate of FCS transfers that hit going to the FBS because. Not only is there good football on the FCS level, they have a chip on their shoulder, and they want to prove that they can play at the FBS level. So look no further than Elijah Huzzy. So let me ask you: do you think they won or lost the transfer portal? NC Nick,
I'm gonna say slight win because I think both the receivers you named will be starters for him. Both the cornerbacks you named will be starters for him. So. They brought in more starters than they lost. They definitely took a hit on depth, but overall, I'd say it's a slight win.
Slight win. Well, let's dive
agree?
a little deep. Yeah, especially if both those wideouts end up starting. I am curious to see how those really highly talented players defensively, especially on a defense that has sucked lately. Like what was the miss there? Did they just miss on the grading of them in high school, or I'm just did they miss on just what they were coaching them up to be? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out because, I mean, it's not like they went to bad schools. Kentucky, is raving about Keyshawn Silver. Storm Duck is now at Louisville.
Now, but don't forget, he couldn't cut it at Penn State. Yeah, he originally transferred to Penn State and then left there. I mean, we don't know why he left there, but my hunch is that maybe he wasn't going to start there either. So, but also we forgot to mention. Go ahead.
I was going to say, or maybe Louisville paid more.
Could be. Who knows, man? Maybe he didn't get along with somebody up there. Maybe he wanted to be closer to home. I don't even know where his home is, but who we don't know. But also we forgot to mention Lampkin also, who's going to start on the O-line. So I mean, you got at least 5 starters from the portal. So.
I agree. I think slight win, but I'm curious to see how those defenders play elsewhere. Grimes going to Texas A&M. I mean, what happens if they make the playoffs and he's starting for them? Sure. All stuff to pay attention to. And look, I mean, let's talk about the offensive side of the ball because Phil Longo is gone, and last year they were a top 20 offense. Yes, 25th in scoring offense, 66th in rush offense, 11th in pass offense, starting at the 19th best offense in the country. But he's gone. Longo's gone, which makes you wonder because now, Chip Lindsay comes in, which was an interesting hire. I was not expecting that to be the hire. Not to say that it's bad. I just didn't really see that one coming. They bring back 9 starters if you include Lampkin. Which is that's impressive. Drake May,
and if you includes Walker too, I believe.
Yeah, and McCollum. I think you got to count in all those guys.
Yeah,
but Drake May might win the Heisman Trophy They might have a Heisman Trophy winner on this team. You know, they might
He
have
had a fantastic first year as a starter, but I've been telling this in a couple pods. His first 9 games, he played really lights out. Down the stretch, the 4 losses that ended the year, he only averaged 227 passing yards per game, which was down from about over 300, I think, in the first 9. 4 touchdowns with 4 interceptions in the last 4 games, and only 57% completion percentage. So as the schedule intensity ratcheted up, his play went down. I mean, that's expected to some degree, but you have to wonder, did teams figure out that offense? Because he didn't play that great down the stretch. That's basically what I'm getting at.
Are you at all worried? Like we saw Tyler Van Dyke be a stud 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now Mario Cristobal comes in, and Josh Gaddis essentially. So he went from the air raid offense to Josh Gaddis. So he went from Rhett Lashley to Josh Gaddis. Do we worry about the slump here as a sophomore slump situation, or do you think that's nonsense? He's just an unbelievable talent. He's gonna be a stud.
Drake May is very good. Okay. But yes, there's some concerns how he ended last year and this year with the new offensive coordinator, almost all new receivers. There has to be some concern there. I think he's going to have a fine season. I don't think he's going to win the Heisman because I don't know if UNC is going to be quite good enough to win the Heisman. You have to be flirting with the college football playoffs in order to win the Heisman these days. Right or wrong, that's how it is.
They did a year ago, though.
Kind of. Until they fizzled out and lost 4 in a row.
Well, look, I can tell you.
Yeah, we'll see though. But it's interesting with some of the new faces there.
I really hope they try to run the ball better because, like if you look at what were they 66 in rushing offense, their running back room has studs, man. Omarion Hampton popped off screen as a freshman. They have Elijah Green. They still have Brittish Brooks. Remember, he tore his ACL before the season last year. They still have Caleb Hood and Pettaway. Like they have a really good running back room. I wonder, if that's a point of emphasis from Chip Lindsay is, hey, we got to get a little more physical, try running the ball more. I don't know. Drake May also is a very good runner as a quarterback. So this offense should be able to really stress out the defense, especially, when you add in the fact that if Devontez Walker and Nate McCollum, who I think are very talented wideouts, can produce at the level we think they can. Now I know they're excited about Gavin Blackwell, a sophomore. They returned Bryson Nesbit, their tight end. The offensive line looks like it should be improved. Basically bringing back 5 starters if you add in Lampkin, because they got Corey Gaynor, the Miami transfer from a couple years ago, penciled in to be the starting center. I mean, where's the flaw here on this offense? I would say physicality in years past. So
sure. I mean, you mentioned all those running backs. I don't know if any of them are Michael Carter or Javonte Williams. While it's rare for a backfield to have 2 of those guys in college playing the pro. Still, I think they're very deep. Yeah, completely agree. And I do like some of those guys. I think they'll be just fine at running back. The passing attack I think should be fine too. And the O-line is experienced and talented. So. Yeah, if you're looking at the offense, there's certainly a lot to like, and there better be, because the way the defense has played last couple of years, they're going to need to put up points. Yeah, one of the more baffling things in all of college football, proving recruiting rankings really to be a sham. One of the examples, I know you could say Texas or Miami over the past, but I don't understand how they're this bad. They returned 8 starters though, even though they had a lot of players leave. They were 101st in scoring defense, 85th against the run, 115th against the pass, charting at 115 overall. Absolutely terrible. One of the top 16 worst defenses in the nation last year. Unfucking believable. Gene Chizik does have his work cut out for him in that capacity. And we're going to pile on with some bad stats. Also last in the ACC in sacks. How? It doesn't make sense. They have some good players, man. They have one of the best linebackers in the conference. The defensive line, Cedric Gray is a beast. And last year with Storm Duck and Tony Grimes, you thought the cornerbacks were really good too. So they have players there, but they just haven't been able to put it all together defensively. Obviously, it's just weird that. And then one guy transfers out to Kentucky, and Mark Stoops is raving about him, saying this guy's going to be a stud. Right. And Kentucky's a good. It makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder about what's happening there. The defensive line should look pretty damn good though. Miles Murphy,
Kevin Hester and Desmond Evans, all there. You know, I know they're excited also about Tamari Fox at the nose guard spot as well. I mean, they should be pretty good. Linebacking core, Cedric Gray, one of the best names, Power Eccles, DeAndre Boykins. I mean, they should be a pretty good fucking defense. I don't understand.
Yeah, I think I slipped up and mentioned Cedric Gray was a defensive lineman, but no, obviously he's a linebacker and one of the best in the ACC.
Fourth team all ACC a year, or all AAC a year ago. Secondary, they got a Marcus Allen. It's always good to have a Marcus Allen on your football team.
Do they have a Bo Jackson also? Yeah.
They need one. Look, I mean, this is the question. I think you circle the secondary because yes, Giovanni Biggers is back, and same with Elijah Huzzy, but he's not even back, but he's a returning starter from East Tennessee State. So the question is can Marcus Allen step up? Can Don Chapman step up? What about the Virginia Tech transfer? Armani Chapman, can he step up? Because that seems to be an area of clear weakness. 16th a year ago. Their kicker and punter their kicker is a starter that was at Cincinnati, and then their punter was second team all ACC a year ago in Ben Kiernan. They're an anomaly. I don't understand. Like in the defense, I look at this and say they should be good, but I'm like, I'm
laughing because I don't mean to pile on, but remember, App State scored 40 points against UNC in the fourth quarter of the game last year. 40 points in the fourth quarter. Now, UNC won the game still, but it just shows you.
They got super lucky to win that game because App State went for two. The guy's wide open and the quarterback airmails it. Right. I just don't know how. I mean, and the schedule, shout out to the Tar Heels because they 10 Power Fives and Appalachian State and Campbell, who preseason, some people have them as a top 25 FCS school.
Bowie's Creek is right down the road too.
Mike Minter doing a damn good job there. I don't know. Do you think the defense will be better this year?
I can't sit here and say that. I mean,
do you think the offense will be better this year? I can't say that either.
No, I don't think the offense will be much worse either, though. I think the offense is still very good, and I think the defense is still very suspect.
Makes you wonder because they won a lot of close games a year ago. We're going to go game by game on this very schedule. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the college football experience, North Carolina Tar Heels season preview is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, the NFL season is right around the corner, and Underdog Pick'em is a great way to get down on a ton of NFL player props, and is available in a ton of different markets. Maybe your state doesn't offer gambling. Here's the quarterback sneak. Plus plenty of opportunities to win with their daily MLB contest. And of course, make sure to enter their Best Ball Mania, where first place gets $3 million. Head on over to underdogfantasy.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Once again, that's underdogfantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. All right, we are back on the college football experience. Hopefully you're subscribed on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. But wherever you get podcasts at, we host this. This is the college football experience. We also host the FCS college football experience podcast, all separately from the previous podcast I mentioned. The college basketball experience. Whoa, season starts. We're less than 100 days away, folks. Get ready for that ACC preview. Get ready for Hubert Davis. A big year for Hubert Davis, as they had a just unbelievable year in the transfer portal too. We're going to have you covered there. So subscribe to that feed. College baseball experience as well. And we come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. So check that out. Subscribe, tell a friend, get over to iTunes, give us a 5-star review, all that good stuff. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, you're going to see the sweet graphic. Shout out to Cam Kerr. The win total sitting at 8.
They won 9 last year. And that was Drake May's first year as a starter, or, basically leading the team.
And I do believe I locked up the over last year and that hit. But
last year it was at like 7 or 7.5.
Yeah. But it makes it mighty interesting. I'm just going right now to check out the juice on this. But what's your first reaction on the 8 over? Remember, no more divisions in the ACC, so no more divisions. First reaction, you think
that hurts.
Man,
that hurts coastal teams.
That's true.
And I think it's minus 110. So it's really telling you. You said it's at 8 right now. Okay,
well,
I saw 8.5 a little earlier. So maybe there is.
Wait,
some
I'm going to
juice.
check right now. To make sure this is accurate. I'm going to check DraftKings right now.
And obviously books might vary a little bit, but
yeah. I mean, there's probably an 8 out there, but just wanted to try to get. He might have made this graphic a week ago, and things change.
That could be big too, because I think UNC is going to hover around this number somewhere between 7 and 9.
Yeah. So where are we at here? Let's see what we got here.
I can't stand how DraftKings doesn't do it alphabetically. There's just no rhyme or reason as far as the order of teams they have.
Yeah.
Do it alphabetically or by conference or something. Come on. Got to scroll through 133 teams. You find it?
Yeah, I'm seeing a flat 8 right now.
Okay.
Minus 130 to the over.
Okay.
Plus 110 to the under.
Makes sense. So they brought down the line, increased the juice.
So let's break it down here, because week 1. Oh man, in Charlotte. I wish this was on campus. They should do a home and home though.
That would be fun.
Spencer Rattler. Last time Mack Brown pulled the old upset in his first ever game as a Tar Heel. Well, first ever game back to North Carolina, because he was previously the head coach. They pulled off a big upset against Will Muschamp in South Carolina. Can he do it against a Beamer? This game
that wasn't the last time they played though, because they played in the Duke Mayo Bowl in 2021. Right. It also in Charlotte, and in that game, South Carolina won 38-21. They ran for over 300 yards of offense, rushing yards. That's been UNC's problem, is a lack of physicality on the lines. And I think they're going to run into the same issue here. Obviously, it's a 50-50 game here. It could go either way, but the game could be very important if you're trying to hit this over. But I'm going to go Gamecocks.
I think you got to lean Gamecocks, but I don't feel great about this. I think this is one of the better games. Yeah, one of the better games of week 1. So yeah, 0-1, and then there it is again. Appalachian State, who the last time they went to Chapel Hill won in Chapel Hill. I don't believe that was the Brown era though, was it? Was that Mack Brown era?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so, because that was 2019. I want to say maybe, or 2020. Okay.
Yes, then it was the Mack Brown era. So Appalachian State, obviously they went into Texas A&M last year and won. Can they do it again? No Chase Bryce anymore, but App State still has got that running back Nate Noel, who's a stud. Man, this game is a sneaky game. I'm gonna take UNC to get this, but I don't feel great about this.
So yeah, that was 2019, which that's still Mack Brown, right? That was his first year. So it was Mack Brown's first year. App State won 34-31. I'm going to take UNC here. I think App State's going to have a redshirt freshman at quarterback, most likely. This will be his first ever road trip. Not that playing in Chapel Hill is all that daunting, but App State has more question marks entering the year than UNC does. So I'll take the Tar Heels to go 1-1.
All right. And then PJ Fleck rowing the boat into Chapel Hill. This is one note. Now, obviously Tanner Morgan's gone, but it could be addition by subtraction, because now they got the Greek rifle and this guy dual threat. Here's one thing I had to do here. I had to lean Minnesota because of you want to talk about physicality. Minnesota's like a top 20 defense, and they well, I know Muhammad Ibrahim's gone, but they even before Ibrahim, they've just been running the ball really well. I'm taking Minnesota. I'm favoring. This is still a 50-50 game, but I favor Minnesota by like a field goal.
I'm going to go UNC here, because one thing that UNC can do is put up points. Minnesota struggles to hit 20, so I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up on the road with this fast-paced Tar Heels offense. I agree. It's a 50-50 game. I had UNC losing the first 50-50 game to SC. I think they win this one to go 2-1.
Nope, not joining you here. Now they head to that ridiculous stadium, Heinz Field. I like Heinz for Steelers. Pitt's got to play on campus, but
be nice.
I think they're glad to get Pittsburgh in September where it's not cold. So there's that. But I got to be honest, I favor Pittsburgh, but this is a 50-50 game. They have almost four 50-50 games to start the season. So maybe you're right by saying potentially 2-2. I think I lean though. Like if I had to set the line, I lean 1-3.
Oh man, you got a slow start for the Tar Heels. Well, if Drake May was on Heisman hopeful watches, if they go 1-3, he's probably not on those anymore. But I have them losing this game because they have lost the last two at Heinz Field, even though UNC won last year pretty easily, 42-24. But I think on the road here, give me Pitt, and I have them at 2-2. You have them at 1-3, right?
1-3, and my main thing is like these are like power running teams they're playing. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
I know their pass defense was worse than their rush defense, but their rush defense wasn't. They're just kind of I need to see more physicality from the Tar Heels defense because these are some physical teams they're playing. They get a bye week. They host Syracuse. Jason Beck, the new offensive coordinator. See this is a win though. This is a game they could win. So give
back at home,
yeah.
Coming off the bye. I agree. And this is a nice little stretch of schedule here. These next 5 games or so, pretty sweet mid-season, group of games here.
So I got to move in the 2-3. You got them at 3-2.
Correct.
They then host the Miami Hurricanes and Mario Cristobal. I saw the ACC's media today put out that that Miami was projected 4th in the ACC. I don't know how they dictate all this stuff, but yeah, I'm taking North Carolina. I think North Carolina's just a better team right now. So I can't take Miami until I see it.
UNC has won 4 in a row in the series. Now I will say 3 of those 4 games were all by a field goal. So they've been close games with UNC. They've been pretty entertaining games the last 5 years or so. But at home, I'm going to go UNC again.
So now I got them back. Look, they started 1-3. Now they're back to 3-3. Let's go. And the Virginia Cavaliers, the oldest rivalry in the South. They come to town. Virginia, I think, is going to be terrible this year.
It is awful. 5-2 for me.
4-3 for me. Then they head down to Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech.
This is tricky.
It's tricky because Georgia Tech beat the piss out of them. Last year was a close game, but North Carolina blew a 17-0 lead. I think it was.
Georgia Tech's won 2 in a row and 4 out of the last 5. Surprisingly, because obviously UNC has been the better team, but on the road too.
I almost feel like we got to take Georgia Tech based off that nugget, but I'm if I'm sticking to my logic of their favorite in this, I'm taking Carolina.
I'm with you. I was on the fence there. I'm with you.
So that then puts them at for me. Damn, that's 4 straight wins. 5-3,
6-2 for me.
And remember, if they lose to Carolina and Minnesota, I only have them with 1 loss in conference at Pitt. All right. Now they host the Campbell Camels and Mike Minter. I think this is a win.
Yeah.
7-2. So wow, the hottest team in the sport right now, right? 5 straight wins, sitting there at 6-3, and only
or
1
7-2 if you're listening to myself.
Yeah, and certainly possible.
You broke up for a second. Keep going.
Yeah, certainly possible to be 7-2. But the Duke Blue Devils come to town, and I know I know you have North Carolina winning this one.
No.
Last year was a crazy game. I'll take Carolina. I'm
taking Duke here. I'm taking Duke. Now, remember what Colby said to start the show. I am a Duke fan, but Duke had every chance to win this last year in Durham. They squandered that away. Revenge angle here. I have Duke winning this.
I'll take Carolina, but I think it's probably a 1-score game. Then they head to Clemson, South Carolina to take on the Tigers and Garrett Riley and Cade Klubnik. That's a loss.
Yes. So the season ends with 2 tough road games at Clemson, at NC State. I don't have them beating Clemson on the road. No way. Again, Clemson, the far superior physical team, and that's what UNC struggles with.
Well, back to back, they play two physical teams. At NC State, so now they head across town to Raleigh, Carter Finley Stadium to take on Dave Doran and NC State. I mean, I favor NC State, but I mean that game was crazy. These games have been crazy
every year, pretty much.
It's kind of a hard team to forecast because you kind of have
a lot of 50-50 games.
Yeah, you have, in my opinion, like you could.
There's only one surefire loss, and that's at Clemson.
Yeah,
but there's probably only two. There's only two surefire wins. And that's Campbell and UVA.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
Wide variance,
especially with their history with Georgia Tech. Normally, you would say Georgia Tech, but I'm on the under though. I think 7-5 is probably what they're going to do.
That's the same record I had. I could see 8-4, so a potential push depending on where you get it at, but winning 9 again, I don't know if that's in the cards.
You know what's interesting though is if they win that Duke game on November 11th and the schedule goes the way I see it.
Yeah.
Or if they beat Pittsburgh, that Pittsburgh game's huge.
Oh, it's very possible too. I mean, UNC could get to 9. This is not one of my favorite plays. I like a lot of plays in the ACC. This isn't one of them.
Well, hang on. Let me build you the case of this though. If they beat Pitt like you have them doing, you don't have them losing a game in the conference then until November.
Till the last 3, similar to last year.
My point is that they could, if they were just to get one of those, I think that might seal their fate to make the ACC championship game.
If they were to beat Pitt and Duke and only lose to Clemson and NC State, then they could be right in the mix there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What the other teams do for sure. That UNC NC State game could be huge because I don't as many good games they've had. I don't think any of them was a chance where either team could make the ACC championship game, and that it could be the case this year. Not saying that Florida State will have something to say with this. Louisville might have something to say about it, but we'll see.
Well, that's what's so interesting is everyone's calling for Florida State and Clemson. The fact that Louisville, North Carolina, and NC State don't play Florida State, I almost think it's highly unlikely if Florida State loses to Clemson that we see them in the ACC championship just because the tiebreak. I don't know how they're going to end up working that. My point though is that North Carolina is right now plus 1,000 over on DraftKings to win the ACC championship. I mean, imagine
that's the problem is to win it.
But what if
beating Clemson in the championship game? I got no problem with them getting there. They just did it last year. But go ahead.
Hear me out.
All right.
I called for Clemson to lose at NC State. Yeah. What if Clemson's not in it? What if NC State is, I mean, I know this is a big time what if, but I'm just saying it could come down to a tricky scenario like that. I think if you're a North Carolina fan or you feel good about this football team, maybe you sprinkle a little bit. I'm saying this as someone that just said I think they're 7-5, but I could also see it. I could easily build you a case where they go in conference. They could run the table until the final 2 weeks, and I mean, even if they lose to Clemson, I think there's a shot they could win at NC State. That game went to overtime a year ago.
Of course.
Yeah.
And we just said there's only one for sure loss, and that's at Clemson. So I mean, 10-2 is within the realm of possibility. There's a wide variance on this team. That's why I'm going to stay away as far as actually betting it. I'm not going to. Even though I lean the under, I'm not going to bet it.
I do lean the under as well. I'm going to have to think on this a little more. For that preseason locks episode. But no,
it's not mine.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel pretty good about the under, considering the offensive shift. Chip Lindsay coming in. I'm not thrilled about that hire, and then the fact that the defensive side of the ball has been so crazy. And remember, they don't get. I mean, I guess they get UVA and Georgia Tech and Syracuse. So I guess you could say, well, they got 3. They don't get Boston College. They don't get Virginia Tech. Yeah,
they dodge Louisville, dodge Florida State. So it's not the worst schedule in the world. I will say out of conference though, it's pretty challenging.
Very challenging. So look, before we're both on the under, before we get out of here, I had a chance to sit down with Michael Barker, aka College Football Campus Tour, to talk about his experiences at Chapel Hill and Kenan Memorial Stadium. So with no further ado, here is that interview. Joining me on the college football experience, North Carolina Tar Heels 2023 season preview episode is none other than Michael Barker, aka College Football Campus Tour. Yes, you should follow his Twitter account because Michael goes to like 5, 6, 7 games a week, and he's been to every single FBS stadium, documents all of his travels, been to most of the FCS. I feel like D2, D3, who knows? If you ask him, I bet you he's been to more stadiums than pretty much any human I've ever known. Michael, I appreciate you hopping on the show, talking a little North Carolina football here, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Colby. 305 college football games since 2017, so I'll put that up against anybody, and I have a good memory of a game I went to at Kenan Memorial. So let's talk about North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's more than Musburger. I have a feeling, and Musburger's been to a lot. But yeah, I've been to Kenan Memorial, but never for a game. Got to check out the stadium, went there. But, tell me about the history of the stadium.
So it opened in 1927. The original capacity was 24,000. Currently, it's up to 51,000. There's been some renovations, which reduced capacity recently. The record crowd was 62,000 versus Florida State. In 1998, they did a West End Zone edition, which created a horseshoe. At the time, Kenan was one of very few FBS stadiums that did not have permanent in zone seats. And in 2011, they opened the Loudermilk Center, which fully enclosed the stadium. That center had 3,000 additional club seats, suites, etc. And one of the coolest touches they've done in the last couple of years is made every seat except the student section Carolina blue. And it just looks really cool to offset the stadium. So that's kind of the progress so far for Kenan.
Yeah, and look, I know there's speculation whether they're in the ACC or not. They would be highly sought after by the Big Ten or SEC, and they have that Jordan money and Nike money. So I mean, and to me, they've kind of underachieved on the football field. From my experience, I mean, from my past 30 years, they've had some really good fucking players. But tell me, how many times you've been to the stadium?
So I've been there, visited like you a few times, but only one game. And it was interesting. It was during COVID. And at the time, the governor of North Carolina was only allowing 7% capacity in stadiums in North Carolina. So when you do the math, there was 1,400 fans allowed, and it was impossible to find a ticket. And I needed to go to that game because it was the only, in my quest to see a game at every stadium, it was the only stadium that week that had not seen a game. And I tracked tickets, and maybe Wednesday or Thursday, 1 or 2 popped up on StubHub, and it was $725 to go watch a regular season game, North Carolina against Wake Forest. And fortunately, I don't know if you can ever get your money for $725, but that game was ridiculous. It was 59-53 shootout. North Carolina beat Wake Forest, and 2 phenomenal quarterback performances. Sam Howell threw for 550 yards and 6 touchdowns, and Sam Hartman recently transferred to Notre Dame, threw for 429 yards and 4 touchdowns. So probably the most entertaining game with 1,400 fans you've ever seen in your entire life.
Oh, I remember that game because I played a DFS lineup that got some serious cash. Because I rostered a lot of players in that game, and wow, that was a fantastic game to watch back and forth. A lot of fireworks there. Yeah, I mean, look, this is a cool stadium. It's a cool stadium. I love the fact, obviously, that it's outdoors, and then just the fact that I feel like North Carolina is a sleeping giant. Like I feel like the high school football that's played within the state, very good, very underrated, I think. If they could just, perhaps take down Clemson or Florida State one of these years, I think they could really build something special there. Obviously, Raleigh doesn't have a pro football team, so Raleigh and Chapel Hill, that whole area, the medical triangle. So I think that could be a huge moment for them if Mack Brown's able to do it. Matt, maybe I'll catch you at a game sometime at in Chapel Hill there. At Kenan Memorial Stadium. So appreciate you hopping on the show, Michael, to talk about this. And please let me know next time you're in the area, and maybe I will meet you there.
Yeah, week 2 looks good. App State traveling to North Carolina, the revenge game from that crazy game in Boone last year. So maybe that one or maybe another one down the road. But appreciate being on as always, Colby.
Anytime, brother. And yeah, that game was great. I mean, last time they played there in Chapel Hill, App State won. Quite a great game. But take care, Michael. Everyone should go give him a follow on Twitter at CFB Campus Tour, because Michael does, I'm telling you, it's the best Twitter page. If you love college football or just stadiums in general, you should give him a follow at CFB Campus Tour. Thanks again, Mike.
Absolutely. Thank you, Colby.
Take care, brother. Michael Barker, Kenan Memorial Stadium, NC Nick.
Research Triangle Park, not medical, but close enough.
Whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? They got triangles. All right. Who cares, right? Like, let's get it right. All right. Kenan Memorial. That's what I want to talk about. All right. They gonna build a triangle there?
Well, I don't know. What does that mean? A triangle of success.
A triangle of success. What is he saying? Meet the parents. We're in the pyramid or something like that. Something. I don't know. I'm talking about my ass right now. Yeah. Pyramid of trust, something like that. But anyway, buddy, look, I mean, Kenan Memorial, you've been to a game, right?
No, I haven't actually. I've been to a basketball game at UNC, but dude, that's enemy territory for me. I got no desire to go there.
Interesting, folks. Look, he's at NC__NICK on Twitter. You can direct all your hate there, Carolina fans. So please do that. Give him a follow or not. I don't care. Just tell him to kiss ass and die. I don't care. Right? Look. The college football experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. Give me a follow. All right. There you go. And give the college football experience a follow. Hop on over to iTunes. Give us 5-star review. All right. I know we're both on the under, but I mean, I don't feel great about it. I could be wrong. I locked up North Carolina last year. All right. And it hit. So, we've been good to you guys. All right. Look, subscribe to the college football experience, subscribe to the FCS college football experience. Maybe there's some Campbell fans, some North Carolina Central fans, won the Celebration Bowl. How about, hold on, let's talk about the great state of North Carolina. You got NC State, good team. Wake, good team. North Carolina, good team. Duke, good team. Biff Poggi and Charlotte, they seem like they found the guy. Right. App State, good team. Gardner Webb went to the FCS playoffs. They're good. Davidson went to the FCS playoffs. They're good. Campbell's been recruiting really high, at a really high level. Haj Malik Williams is back. Elon went to the FCS playoffs, and East Carolina's
the only one's not really good is ECU.
No. And East Carolina's better than them all. All right. So. And you're wearing a UNC Wilmington hat. How about they start their football
football program, UNC Dub? Come on.
And Greensboro. All right. And Greensboro. And I didn't even mention North Carolina A&T. They're not a bad team either. So, folks, North Carolina football alive and well. And maybe the Tar Heels can be a beacon of light and, win the ACC this year and lead the way for the great state of North Carolina. But I'm on the under. NC Nick's on the under. And folks, subscribe to the Sports Gambling Podcast as well. Get the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. Go check out that Phil Steele interview we just did. Talking all things college football. And till next time. Till next time. This is the college football experience. UNC Tar Heels 2023 season preview. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking and the whole world's looking with the cameras. Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And